Hey there. A little bit different format for video 3. On my way to work from Badger's annual Christmas party. Great event. Lots of pullers there, lots of talent. I didn't get any exact numbers, but probably 100 people or more. And a couple notable names. RVJ was there, Nick Stone, and a ton of others I'm not going to be able to remember right now off the top of my head. But it was great practice down in New Hampshire. A little bit of a drive for me, but I don't mind that. I had a super match that kind of impromptu. They do super matches every year at Badger's parties, but I didn't have one set up going into it. I don't know my level compared to people. I don't call people out yet. I'm just kind of trying to learn and gain constant improvement. So I just went for practice and happened to see one of the guys that I pulled against in the New England's tournament in the novice class over there, and he came up to me and said, hey. So I asked him if he had a super match lined up yet, and he said no, and we're about the same weight, so we decided to put it on the books and just kind of see. And I'm sure for both of us it was a bit of a test to see how much we've improved. I did beat him in September. His was the only kind of controversial win, I would say. He didn't like his setup in the strap, and Badger was actually the ref for that match as well. He made it visible that he didn't like it, the setup and the strap, and Badger didn't say anything. It's not Badger's job to care about, whether you like the setup. It's your job to get it. So, on that win, I was wondering, like, would I have been able to beat him well or at all if I didn't maybe get lucky in the strap? So for me, I was really curious to see if, because it felt like he did have a lane in the tournament back in September, that was. And I was so worried about the lane that I actually, probably the biggest little chicken wing elbow foul you've ever seen in your life. And Badger calls it out on me, and it was my only foul of the tournament. But he was a strong dude. He had big hands, and so I was a little worried about him. So fast forward to today, and we're in our super match, and I won. I flash pinned twice, and so I wasn't really able to learn a whole lot. Because I knew I was stronger. It's shown on the table, it's shown with all the people I've pulled with, the feedback I'm getting. I knew I was stronger than I was in September. But the win was a win, and it happened quick, and you're not able to learn much. And so I actually went up and found him a little bit later after our arms had maybe gotten a little less pumped. And got him to the table, and because I wanted to see his lane, and I wanted to learn his lane, because it's cool that we're coming in around the same time together, and we typically be able to use each other as a checkup, like, hey, how am I doing, after the last 6 months of practice, like, and then be able to foster that long-term growth with someone, I think is going to be really cool. And so we got on the practice table after, and I let him have his lane, and he felt strong in it. I felt a bit stronger, And I'm just, for now, I'm chalking it up to beginner gains. I'm not gonna imagine that I'm gonna keep the same pace that I've kept. I would love it if I could, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. You know, I want that constant improvement, but it might not always be so noticeable week to week, and that will be okay. But for now, it is noticeable, and I am loving it, and it's not even just me noticing it, and I don't want to sound like, hey, look at me, but I got an invite to Nick Stone's barbecue party that he does in the summer, and he told me if I have anyone I want to call out for a super match. And I did not think I was at that level yet where I would be getting invited to, you know, fairly big name people's barbecues, you know. And so it was very cool, very, very awesome. That's a good word for it. To feel that and to know that, you know, maybe I do have a future in arm wrestling, and I'm doing well to the point. And Nick Stone has seen me pull. He saw me practice pull in the East versus West qualifier in June, my first time on the table. He saw me pull New England's when I won my novice tournament, and he saw me pull today when I won my super match. So he's seen me win and is recognizing that, and that's cool. That I want to remember that feeling, especially if, you know, later on down the line I'm the one inviting people. You know, I never want to forget what it feels like to be new in this sport. I really don't, because it's so gratifying to be learning and improving well in it, that I guess I'm a little worried that I'm gonna plateau at some point, and I'm gonna need motivation for that time, for that period of time, if I ever plateau, that I can go back and watch these videos when right now I'm feeling great about myself and great about who I'm pulling with and how I'm doing and the improvement, and, you know, that way I can try to remember that and use that to get through whatever slump I might have. So very pleased with the turnout and the results of this event. Was very cool to participate in. There was another thing. RVJ was there, and was talking about a piece of advice, as to remember the if you are gonna take arm wrestling to that level where you consider yourself an athlete, right, and how to balance that with regular life, you know, and the work ethic that goes into being an athlete. You can't set aside that work ethic for the rest of the time. You have to have it constant, that work ethic, and that it's something that he is trying to pass on to his kids, that, you know, the professional athlete lifestyle is disciplined and structured and, you know, healthy, but that it can be hard to instill that in your children when the other 4 days of the week or whatever you might be out getting drunk or getting high or anything, you know. And so I want to take that and apply that to my life, because it's good advice. You know, it's the work ethic that I'm putting into arm wrestling. That same work ethic doesn't have to stop at arm wrestling. It can go towards any of my hobbies. It can go towards any. It can go towards work. It can go towards relationships. You know, that drive for constant improvement you can have in all aspects of your life. So, a little piece of advice from one of the bigger names in arm wrestling, if you will. Apply your work ethic all the time. So, and I'll wrap that up. Video 3.